Hi, I'm Richard Friedman, and welcome to my video cartoon for March 25th, 2025. Well, we're knocking off May, folks. Here's my latest cartoon. And basically, what's going on here is that you have the vote. This is at the in the early morning hours of the vote here. And here's President Donald Trump at the Capitol. And there's the moon and the stars, the American flag, the Capitol. And here is Mike Johnson, who President Trump has really been on his case to get that big, beautiful bill of his passed. And it passed by one vote, you see. And the thing is that there was this one representative from New York who fell asleep and never voted. You know, we went, and he was sleeping and nobody woke him up. You know, I can't see how everybody's voting, aye, nay, whatever. And then you hear his name and then you look over and then go, and then nobody wakes him up. So I was thinking to myself, well, maybe it's because they were worried that if they woke the guy up and he voted against the bill, then President Trump would blame that person for waking the guy up who voted against the bill. So they probably figured to themselves, let him sleep, because if nobody wakes him up and he just doesn't vote, well, then nobody can get in any kind of trouble with President Trump, you see? So he just went ahead, slept through the whole thing. You know, at least he showed up, but he showed up and fell asleep. And the thing about it is that this is the thrust of the cartoon here, is that they had to do this vote like in the wee small hours of the morning here. And apparently it seems that they didn't want any publicity and they didn't want any protesters around, and they wanted to do it quietly, you know, in the darkness of the night, you know. So in the darkness of the night, and just get it through real quickly and real cool. Well, under the moon and the stars, you see here? They're the moon and the stars. So then what happened was, basically, I started thinking to myself of that Wilson Pickett song from 1965 that I used to like, In the Midnight Hour. And then I wrote a song that for the Republicans, that basically how they thought about this. And this is their song, and I titled it here. And that's Richard's We Are Gonna Wait Till the Midnight Hour. And now I have here, Mike Johnson is going to sing the song, you see, that I wrote. But this is based again on Wilson Pickett's 1965 hit, In the Midnight Hour. So I want to play that to you for you right now so you get into the spirit of what that song is. A lot of you people weren't around then, so I'll give you a little bit of a sample of what that song was about. Okay? Yeah, I hope. Here it is.
The ex-president's
battle. Well, we always got to go through stuff. You know,
isn't ruining his life.
Here we go. Yeah. That's my song, and I rewrote it so you get an understanding of the spirit that it was written in. They're the stars. There's a twinkle in President Trump's eye. Okay, there we go. Okay. Okay, that was it. So here we go. So here we go now with the instrumental and I'm going to sing the song out to you. Okay, here we go. Here it is. Here's Mike Johnson here, singing the song, and this is President Trump here. Pass my big, beautiful bill. There he is. The Capitol, the American flag. There he is. Pass my big, beautiful bill. And here's Johnson about to sing my song. And here we go. I'm going to play the instrumental and sing it out to you. Here we go. We're gonna wait till the midnight hour while America is asleep for sure. We are gonna pass Trump's big, beautiful bill on that House floor. With extending tax cuts for the rich forevermore. In the midnight hour. Yes, we are. Oh, yes, we are. One more thing we just want to say right here. We're gonna wait till the moon and stars come out. And we see that twinkle of victory in President Trump's eye. In the midnight hour, lighting up the dark sky. Oh yeah, in the midnight hour. Yeah, you could just go along with yourself and kind of just. Okay. All right, folks. Now, what I want to do is just explain something to you here. That what I did was I did a little research back into my books here, way back, and about this bill. You see, what this what Trump's beautiful bill does, you see here, it gives like almost $4 trillion in tax breaks to the rich. And that same amount of money is what the deficit amounts to. So what they're going to have to do is they're going to have to raise the debt ceiling, borrow the money, and increase the debt. So when you increase the debt, that's more money we're going to have to pay interest on. And aside from the fact that interest rates will be going up since they dropped our credit, and interest rates are going to rise because now all three credit authorities have consistently dropped our credit rating. So you can be sure our credit's going to rise and the debt's going to rise. And the difference here is the $3.8 trillion in deficit that's going to the rich. And meanwhile, Medicare is being cut. And the thing is, they're saying we're not cutting Medicaid, but what they have in there is a provision, a trigger, that if things don't go cool, they could trigger a cut to Medicare too. So they're not cutting Medicare, they're cutting Medicaid for sure, big time. But they're not saying they're cutting Medicaid because of the fact that it's built into it. There's a trigger mechanism that will enable them to cut Medicaid in certain eventuality in terms of needing more money. So their provision is there to cut Medicaid, although they're not cutting it right now. So That's the thing here. So this gets you got to be alert to what's going on. So because so basically, it passed by one vote. Mike Johnson, who managed to push President Trump's big beautiful bill through the House by one vote, even without representative from New York who fell asleep. I talked about that. So here is what I'm saying: is this. Now, this is the interesting part. Is that you see? This is a cartoon I did from one of my books a while ago, and this is one of the things I came across here. Now, this is Josh Hawley. You see, Josh Hawley. This was a drawing I did for him. I did on him back on January 6th during the Capitol riot. There he was. Basically, I don't want to get into that now. I'm just saying to you that this is a captured picture of him. And now the man is saying, look, he don't want to cut Medicare. He's concerned about his state, Missouri, and the rural hospitals are going to go bankrupt because in rural America, they don't have the financing and the support that the big metropolitan hospitals have. So the rural hospitals going down and all the poor people losing coverage. He's concerned about Josh Hawley. And this is a man who stood up for President Trump during the Capitol riot. He was edging them. I'm gonna leave it at that. But I'm just saying that this is how deep it goes with him to say. And these are all the supporters of President Trump. And this is another one. This is Senator Rand Paul. Now, Senator Rand Paul didn't say nothing about cuts to Medicare or Medicaid or anything like that. He's just worried about the deficit, you see. But still, that's a concern. He said they asked him, "Do you think President Trump could twist your arm and get you to vote for that?" He said, "No way. I'm not going to vote for a bill that increases the debt." So there's some level of responsibility there that Rand Paul has now taken, also a former Trump supporter. And these are the people way back who supported President Trump that I drew here. This was regarding a thing with Mark Milley that he tried to prevent World War III and contacting China to say we weren't going to attack, and then they want to bring him up for treason charges for President Trump was saying that he should brought up on treason charges. A few people went along with it back then. So these were supporters there. I'm not going to mention. I'm only mentioning Josh Hawley and Rand Paul because now they are against this bill in terms of, again, what it does to Medicaid for Josh Hawley from his state, Missouri, and Rand Paul saying it increases the deficit. And how could you keep going on and on and on like this? So, if they would just say, okay, no more taxes to the rich, you see, and we leave it as it is, and we cut that out, the deficit would go boom, and it would just put America on a course. Even with these horrible things to Medicare, and they could find a way maybe to not make it so bad, cut it from other areas, and just take a little less from Medicare, and cut out that provision of trigger provision to go after Medicaid after they get through with Medicare. But these are little things that could be done, but that ain't going to happen. So I'm just bringing that up, and there you have it. That was it here. These were supporters of President Trump, and these two people here, Josh Hawley and Rand Paul. Rand Paul, who's a former supporter of Trump, and Josh Hawley, now saying they're not going to vote for the bill. So there you have it. So there are ghosts of reason in Congress. All right, folks. Thank you for watching, and God bless you. And I'll see you next time. Bye.